So yesterday we had gone through these previous year questions, and the previous year questions we have covered with respect to Kp, Kx, and Kc relations, and also with respect to the different kind of properties of equilibrium constant, where we had gone through previous year questions. In this lecture,
Yes, sir.
we'll start further. In this lecture, we'll start further. Now here, okay, we'll start with the degree of dissociation. Okay, we'll start with the what is the meaning of degree of dissociation. Anybody has any idea about this thing? What is degree of dissociation? Okay,
Sir,
okay, I will cover it. I'll cover it. So see what happens. If you go by the definition, the degree of dissociation is the fraction of reactant molecules that actually dissociate to achieve a equilibrium in a reaction. It's just a definition. Just a definition. We'll see how to use it. How to use it in the equations. You can go through the formula that it is equal to what? It is equal to the number of moles dissociated divided by initial number of moles of reactant. We are talking about the reactant. That the number of moles of reactant dissociates divided by initial number of moles of the reactant. Okay. And also important thing is that this is alpha. It varies from 0 to 1. Its value varies from 0 to 1 only. For example, I have this equation. Where A molecule of gas gives n molecules of B. See, just like it here. For example, A in equilibrium gives 2B. So what is happening? A is giving the 2 moles of B. Simple thing. So here also, I have just generalized it. Instead of writing 2 or 3, I have generalized it that A gives n moles of B. Okay. So initial moles, let's assume that initial we have A number of moles of A and 0 mole of B. After some time, what will happen? After some time, suppose X moles of A gets consumed. X moles of A gets consumed. So how many moles of A left? A minus X. And if X moles of A gets consumed, then how many moles of B will be formed? An X, right? This is how it
yes, sir.
happens, right? At T is equal to T equilibrium, this is what is happening. Now, if you try to define the value of alpha, for this reaction, alpha will be equal to X upon A. How? Alpha is equal to X upon A. कैसे? X is the number of moles dissociated. So here you see, X is the number of moles of A which dissociates, and A is the initial number of moles, right? So this is how you define the alpha. So from here, I take X is equal to A alpha and write it here. So at T is equal to T equilibrium, I can write like this, that A minus A alpha, and here I can write N A alpha, right? This is how I can write it. So at equilibrium, you see how many moles are total. Suppose this is the container. This is the container into which we had A. This is the container into which we had A component. Some reaction took place and B is also formed. Some reaction took place and B is also formed. In the end, after suppose that T is equal to T equilibrium, we have both components inside the table. We have both components A and B inside the container. So how many total moles are there? Total moles will be equal to moles of A and moles of B, right? So the total moles at equilibrium will be this much. It will be this much.
A
How
into
how did we get it? Simple. A minus A alpha plus N A alpha, right? Take the A common. It will be 1 minus alpha plus N alpha, right? So it will be like this: A 1 plus alpha N minus 1, right?
yes, sir.
So this is the total number of moles which we get at the equilibrium. Okay. And here we have defined also the alpha. How we can use the alpha here. Understood? So this is the total number of moles which we get at the equilibrium in this reaction or in any kind of reaction. We will see how to do it. This is one concept. Next we'll understand the relationship between the absorbed molecular weight and vapor density. Absorbed molecular weight and vapor density. So to understand this thing, same thing. Initial number of moles A and 0. At T is equal to T equilibrium, it is A minus A alpha and Na alpha. Now here we will apply the law of conservation of mass. According to the law of conservation of mass, we know initial mass is equal to final mass. initial mass in the system. Now system means what? System means this container into which reaction is taking place. Container into which reaction is taking place. So initially it is has only A. Initially it has only A. After some time it will have B also. So that means initial mass will be of A only. Initial mass will be of A only. So we have A moles of A compound. A moles of A compound. The total mass will be A into A, right? Or we can say, suppose M is the molecular mass of A. M is the molecular mass of A. That means total initial mass will be A into M is equal to final mass. Now final mass means what? In the final means at the equilibrium, we have both A and B available in the container. And we know the total number of moles. We know the total number of moles of B in the container will be A into 1 plus alpha and minus 1. Right. This is the total number of moles we have of A and B inside the container. And suppose there is A and B inside, and we cannot define the individual molecular mass there. We cannot define the individual molecular mass of A and B for the mixture. So suppose this mixture of A and B has the mass of M mix, has the molecular mass of M mix. Then what will be the final mass? What will be the final mass? It will be equal to M mix into A into 1 plus alpha and minus 1. Okay, so simple, cancel A by A, we will get what? We will get M in, upon M mix, M upon M mix is equal to 1 plus alpha and minus 1, right? This is the equation which we get. So that means this implies molecular mass of the mixture will be equal to what? The molecular mass of mixture will be equal to M upon 1 plus and minus 1 alpha. Okay, this is what we get. The molecular mass of mixture, we can write like this, or we can write the statement like this. Both the formulas can be used. This is one thing. This observed molecular mass, this observed molecular weight is nothing but just the M mixture. It is nothing but just the M mixture. Now we need to see that vapor density, how vapor density works in this case. Now, in the first chapter in mole concept also, in the gaseous state also, you would have gone through this formula that molecular mass of any substance, molecular mass of any gas or substance is equal to 2 times vapor density. 2 times of vapor density. So you can directly put this formula into this one and you will get like this. So for example, vapor density is what? For example, vapor density initially the vapor density is capital D, finally it is small d. Vapor density initially is capital D and finally is small d. Now this small d is the vapor density of mixture and capital D is the vapor density of initial product, initial reactant A. Okay, so you can simply put the equation here. It will be like this: M is equal to 2 into D and M mix is equal to 2 into small d. Directly put the values. 2d upon 2d is equal to what? 1 plus alpha minus 1. Sorry, 1 plus alpha and minus 1. 1 plus alpha and minus 1. So it will give you what? It will give you capital D upon small d is equal to 1 plus alpha and minus 1. Okay, this is the basic understanding. This is the basic understanding. Or you can do one thing also: multiply A, divide by A. So it is equal to what? It is equal to moles at equilibrium, or we can say total moles at equilibrium divided by initial moles. Divided by initial moles. Did you understand the concept? Did you understand the concept? How we can relate observed molecular weight and vapor density?
Yes, sir.
Great. Jen, did you understand? Jen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes,
So
sir.
the basic understanding. This is the basic understanding of observed molecular weight and vapor density in the terms of dissociation degree of dissociation. Okay. Next when we go, let's see what is there for next thing. Application of equilibrium constants. Now we have gone through the properties of equilibrium constant. We have gone through degree of dissociation also. We have gone through the law of mass action, and we have gone through Kp, Kc, and Kx. Now we'll understand. Now we will understand the application of equilibrium constant, that how we can use it. So the first application will be extent of reaction. First application is extent of reaction. How it happens, let's see. Suppose I have this reaction AA gives AA plus BB gives CC plus GT, where ABCD, are what? Stoichiometric coefficients of this reaction. Now we know the K equilibrium is written like this. K equilibrium is written like this. Now we know when we write the QC, it will be equal to CC DD upon AA and BB. The difference between QC and K equilibrium here is that in the case of K equilibrium, these terms are the equilibrium concentrations. These are the equilibrium concentrations, and in the case of QC, these are concentrations at any time t. At any time, these are the concentrations at any time. And you see, as the products keeps on increasing, that is, as the value of C and D keeps on increasing, the value of QC keeps on increasing, because if the C and D increases, A and B decreases. So here in this QC, A and B decreases, then QC increases, C and D increases, QC increases, right? Because denominator decreases, overall value increases, numerator increases, again overall value increases. So that means if the QC is very high, that means the reaction has gone forward to a large extent. If the QC is very low, that means the reaction has gone forward up to a very small extent. Okay. Similarly is the K equilibrium. So if I say that K equilibrium is greater than 10 to the power 3, if K equilibrium is greater than 10 to the power 3, that means forward reaction is favored. And if the K equilibrium is less than 10 to the power minus 3, here it is 10 to the power 3, and here is less than 10 to the power minus 3. In that case, the backward reaction is favored. Okay. Simple. That means what? Suppose this is the timeline of reaction. And here we have A and B only. So suppose after some time, very quickly at this point, T is equal to T equilibrium is achieved. Suppose just after going some time, equilibrium is achieved like this. So in that case, what is happening? The K equilibrium has very small value. It has very small value. Okay, has very small value. That means the forward reaction is not that much, we can say, absorbed. The forward reaction hasn't taken place that much. Why? Because the moment A and B reacted, equilibrium came. The moment you put A and B together, equilibrium came, right? So that means what? That means the forward reaction didn't take place that much. Or in other terms, backward reaction is favored. But when the K equilibrium is this much, in this case, you see, the reaction has gone to the forward direction in larger extent. The reaction has gone to forward direction in a huge extent. That means K equilibrium has high value. Understood? So that is how we define the extent of reaction. So let's take the example. For example, we have 4 set of reactions. In the first reaction, you see the K equilibrium is less than 10 to the power 3, less than 1000. So this reaction is backward, BWD favored. Similarly, second reaction, see, it is 10 to the power minus 18. This means it is totally a backward reaction. Okay. When I say backward reaction, that means the formation of CO and O2 is not favored, but the formation of CO2 is favored. Understood this point?
Yes, sir.
Great. In the third also, you see the value is 97, less than 1000. Here also, the formation of PCl3 and Cl2 is not favored that much. And PCl5 is favored more. And in the fourth one, you see the value is 10 raised to power 55. That means almost near to completion. That means what? That means the reaction has gone in the forward direction to a larger extent. Okay, that means ozone dissociates to give oxygen very easily. Ozone dissociates to give oxygen very easily. That's why forward reaction has taken place up to a larger extent. Understood what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Great. This was the extent of reaction. Second is the direction of reaction. Now in this case also, what is happening? See, we have QC. If I take QC like this, if I have QC like this, and you try to draw the graph between reaction quotient QC and time T. So we know with time the QC increases, right? With time the QC increases, and there will be a time when these concentration terms C, D, A, B, these terms, they will become the concentration at equilibrium. They will become the equilibrium concentrations at some time. At that time, QC will be equal to K equilibrium, right? So this is how it happens. First, the QC increases like this. At equilibrium time, the equilibrium is achieved. At this time, at the T equilibrium, equilibrium is achieved, and at that time, this QC becomes constant. At that time, the QC becomes constant, and it is equal to the K equilibrium. Okay, this QC becomes K equilibrium at the equilibrium condition. Now, important thing, look at this again, the timeline. I have discussed this last time also in the class, that this is the K equilibrium. Suppose this is the QC here, this is the QC here. When the QC is less than K equilibrium, that means it wants to go towards the K equilibrium. Every reaction tends to achieve equilibrium. That is the thumb rule. Every reaction tends to achieve the equilibrium. It's the thumb rule. So when the QC is less than K equilibrium, reaction is going in forward direction to achieve it, to achieve the equilibrium. When the QC is greater than K equilibrium, reaction will move backward to achieve the equilibrium. Simple funda. Okay, so that's how. If K equilibrium is less than QC, or we can say when QC is greater than K equilibrium, backward reaction is favored, and when QC is less than K equilibrium, forward reaction is favored. Understood the direction?
Yes, sir.
Great. Great. Jayant has gone away. Okay, got it. Chalo. Let's see ahead. Let's move ahead. Next is the calculations of equilibrium constant. This is the third application, that how can we calculate the equilibrium concentrations. So simple thing. For example, we have ammonia. For example, we have nitrogen and hydrogen reacting to give ammonia. So initially, suppose we have concentration of N2 as A, concentration of H2 as B, and ammonia as 0. This is the initial concentration. At equilibrium, suppose this is A minus X, this is B minus 3X, this is 2X, right? This is 2X. Now imagine that this is our container. This is our reactor or container into which we have N2 and H2 initially. When the reaction takes place, at the equilibrium, we have three components. At the equilibrium, we have all the three components, N2, H2, and NH3. But you assume that the volume of container is fixed. We assume that the volume of container is fixed, that much only, right? This is the volume of container. So in that case, what will happen? In that case, when we write the K equilibrium, it will be equal to concentration of ammonia ka square divided by concentration of H2 cube into concentration of N2. This is the K equilibrium. Now what is concentration? Concentration term is equal to number of moles per unit volume, right? Number of moles per unit volume. And we know volume of container is V. So that means for an ammonia, it will be 2x upon V square divided by, for hydrogen, for H2, it will be what? It will be B minus 3x upon V cube into, for ammonia. For nitrogen is A minus X upon V, like this. Okay, this is how we write the K equilibrium equation. So generally what happens? We don't use the volume V. We don't use the volume V when delta Ng of air is 0. When delta Ng of reaction is 0. When the delta Ng of reaction is 0, we don't use the volume factor. Why? I will tell. So in this case, delta Ng is what? It's not equal to 0. That means it has some value. Delta Ng has some value. 2 minus 3 is equal to minus 1, which is not equal to 0. That's why we have taken the volume factor. But just imagine I take this reaction. H2 plus I2 in equilibrium gives 2Hi. Here, at T is equal to 0, we have A, B, 0. At T is equal to T equilibrium, we have A minus X, B minus X, and 2X. And suppose this is a container whose volume is V. Write the K equilibrium. K equilibrium is equal to what? It is equal to 2X upon V square divided by B minus X by V into A minus X by V. This is how I write the K equilibrium. So it will be like this: 2X square divided by V square into A minus X by V into B minus X by V. So see, V and V cancel. Ultimately, it is in the ratio of moles only. Right, Sana?
Yes, sir.
It is in the ratio of moles only. So whenever in a reaction delta Ng is equal to 0, whenever in the reaction delta Ng is equal to 0, don't consider the volume factor. Okay, directly take the ratio of moles. Okay,
Yes, sir.
raise to the power. Next we solve this question. Next, suppose this is a question we are given. Suppose we have this question given. Now according to this question, you see the equilibrium constant for this reaction A plus B gives C plus G is 100. For this reaction, A and B both are reacting and giving us C and D. A and B are the reactants and giving C and D. And for this reaction, K is equal to 100. That is what is given to us. Initial concentration of all the four species 1 molar. So that means that T is equal to 0. This is 1, this is 1, this is 1, this is 1. Okay. At T is equal to 0, A, B, C, and D all are 1. Just a minute. Yeah. At T is equal to 0, A, B, C, and D all are 1. We are asked the equilibrium concentration of D. We are asked what is the equilibrium concentration of D. How can we do it? Simple, just like I told you. Here also you see delta Ng is equal to 0, right? Delta Ng is equal to 0. So at T is equal to T equilibrium, what I will do? Suppose A and B, X amount is used. Suppose X amount of A and X amount of B is used. So I will write like this: 1 minus X into 1 minus X. And if X amount of A and B is used, that means X amount of C and D is formed. But already we have 1 and 1 available. So it is 1 plus X into 1 plus X. This is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
So now we write the K equilibrium equation. That will be equal to 1 plus X into 1 plus X divided by 1 minus X into 1 minus X. So this is equal to 100, right? This is equal to 100. Now, so this 100 is equal to what? 1 plus X square divided by 1 minus X square. Take the square root on both sides. Take the square root on both sides. It will be 10 is equal to 1 plus X divided by 1 minus X. And now when you solve this equation, we solve this equation like this. So solve kar dete hain. 10 minus 10x is equal to 1 plus x, and it will be 11x is equal to 9, and x is equal to 9 by 11. X is equal to 9 by 11, right? If x is equal to 9 by 11, in that case, what is the equilibrium concentration of D? What will be the equilibrium concentration of D? It will be what? 1 plus x, and this is equal to what? 1 plus 9 by 11 equal to 20 by 11. When you solve this value, it will be equal to what? Greater than 1. But then solve kar lo, you will get the real value because there are two values which are greater than 1, third and second. So option will be between third and second. When you solve it, it will be something 1.818 like this. And the option second is correct. So you understood, Sana, how to proceed in the reaction? How
Yes,
to
sir.
proceed in the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, this is how we proceed. Okay. Next question. Next question. Can you do it for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I can tell you simple. A plus 2b is there, giving 2c plus d. Okay. The question says that initial concentration of B was 1.5 times the initial concentration of A. So that means if I take the concentration of B, sorry, if I take the concentration of A initially as 1, if A is equal to 0, if I take the concentration of as A as 1 molar, B's concentration is given as 1.5 molar, right?
Yes.
Right. So this is given to us. Now you solve it and tell me how to do. You solve it and tell me how to proceed in this question. So Sana, did you get any progression? Okay. I will also solve side by side for you. Okay. I will also solve. So what I can do, I can do the same thing just like I did in the previous question. Here I will write 1 minus x, 1.5 minus x, and this is 2x. Sorry, this is 1.5 minus 2x, right? And this is 2x, and this is x. This is the concentrations at equilibrium. One thing is clear to us. Second thing, the question says that the equilibrium concentrations of A and B are found to be equal. That means 1 minus x is equal to 1.5 minus 2x. This is also clear to us. So we can get the value of x like this. 2x minus x is equal to 1.5 minus 1. So x is equal to 0.5. This is clear to us. So that means at equilibrium, the concentrations can be 0.5 and 1.5 minus 2 into 0.5. It will be what? It will be also be 0.5. This is 1 and this is 0.5. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
we have to find the equilibrium constant k. K will be what? K will be equal to 2c square into d divide by 2b square into a. So 2c square is what? 2 into 1 square into d 0.5 upon what is b? B is 0.5 square into a 0.5. So this is equal to 4 into 0.5 upon 1 into 0.5. So that will be equal to 4 into what is it? Okay. Yeah, simple. This cancel this. So the answer will be 4. The answer will be 4. The option will be third. Is it clear to you, Sana?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, you got the answer?
No, sir, I didn't. I couldn't do it.
Okay, okay. What was the problem? Where did you face the problem?
Uh, I think it was the equation.
Yes, Sana?
Um, I got it now. Yeah, I got it.
A minor mistake?
Yes, sir, I got it. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Chalo. Now we'll proceed further. Now we'll proceed further to the next question. Okay, I think these are the questions only from this topic. Next topic to understand is the characteristics of K equilibrium and what are the factors that affects it. See, just like I told you that this K equilibrium, it doesn't depend upon the concentration of reactants, products, presence of catalyst, or the direction from which equilibrium is achieved. Now this factor, presence of catalyst, we have discussed earlier, right? That the catalyst just enhances the rate of reaction. It doesn't change the equilibrium constant. Catalyst doesn't change the K equilibrium. It just increases the rate at which reaction can take place, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it will help in achieving the equilibrium quickly, but it doesn't mean that it change the equilibrium. Second thing, this last point, the direction from which equilibrium is achieved. This is also we discussed that we have taken the reverse reaction and the backward reaction, so forward and reverse reaction, and I have discussed that how equilibrium can be achieved in both the directions, right? So there also, the K doesn't change. Whenever the direction is reversed or it is taken in forward, K doesn't change. Second, the K also doesn't depend upon the concentration of reactants and products. K doesn't depend upon the concentration of reactants and products. This is the first point. Next, the K depends upon the stoichiometry. This is also we discussed, right? When we multiply the reaction by 2, the K becomes K square. When we multiply reaction by half, the K becomes K raised to power half, right? This is also understood.
Yes, sir.
Next important point is that the K varies according to the temperature. The K, it varies according to the temperature at which reaction is carried out. How it happens, we'll see. See, for example, we have this reaction N2 plus H2 gives ammonia. N2 plus 3H2 gives ammonia. Now in this reaction, one important thing you note is that delta H of this reaction is negative. Actually, what is it? It is ammonia formation process. It's ammonia formation process, जिसे हम हैबर प्रोसेस भी कहते हैं. Are you comfortable in Hindi? Are you comfortable in Hindi, Sana?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay, great. So now here, it's ammonia formation process where delta H is negative. Where delta H is negative. And the dependence of K equilibrium over the temperature can be obtained from Van't Hoff equation. There is an equation called Van't Hoff equation. Okay. Now, another thing I told you that suppose this reaction only, it takes place at temperature T1. It takes place at temperature T1. So at that temperature, at this particular temperature T1, there will be a particular value of equilibrium constant and it will be K equilibrium 1. Okay. Now, when you change the temperature of the reaction, suppose this reaction initially takes place at 100 degrees Celsius, then you increase the temperature to 200 degrees Celsius. Then you suddenly increase the temperature of reaction to 200 degrees Celsius. So what will happen? At 100 degrees Celsius, the value was K1. The moment you change the temperature to 200, the reaction dynamics will change. The reaction's dynamics will change. It will start moving towards forward or backward direction to attain the equilibrium again. Okay, to attain the equilibrium again. So during the new equilibrium situation, when the new equilibrium will be achieved at the temperature of 200, the value of K will be something different, K2. Okay, it will be different, K2. Now let's understand. Now let's understand this thing here. That this is the Van't Hoff equation which we use. This is the Van't Hoff equation which we use and which relates the value of K equilibrium with temperature. So you see, just like I told you, if we have the temperature T2, which is higher, for example, T2 is greater than T1. T2 is greater than T1 and K2 is greater than K1. Or we can say, in other words, when temperature is T2, K is K2. When temperature is T1, the K is K1. So these different temperatures and the value of K with respect to these temperatures are related by Van't Hoff equation like this. Here delta H is what? Delta H is nothing but just the heat of reaction at constant volume. It is the heat of reaction. Now this delta H can be positive or it can be negative. It can be positive or it can be negative. Just like we know, right? We know that delta H is what? It is a heat of reaction, and the heat of reaction can be endothermic or it can be exothermic. When it is endothermic, it is positive. When it is exothermic, it is negative. So let's see how the exothermic and endothermic reactions affects the equilibrium constant. So for example, we have delta H is equal to 0. First case, when we have delta H is equal to 0, in this case, you see the right hand side of equation will be 0. This part will be 0. So that means here ln K2 by K1 is equal to 0. Now yesterday you had the logarithmic class, right? With the math sir. There you would have learned that when ln K2 by K1 is equal to 1, that means K2 and K1 both are equal. K2 and K1 both are equal. So what does that mean? That means if heat of reaction is 0, the equilibrium constants are same. And when the heat of reaction will be 0, when the change in heat of reaction will be 0, when the reaction doesn't absorb the heat or when the reaction doesn't release the heat. Okay. When the reaction doesn't absorb any heat or when it doesn't release any heat, in that case, the delta H will be 0. So simple सी बात है. If you don't supply any temperature, suppose if you don't add or if you don't increase the temperature of a reaction, or if you don't reduce the temperature of a reaction, the heat of the reaction will not change. Okay, the rate of reaction will not change. So that's why K1 is equal to K2. First case. Second case, when delta H is positive. When delta H is positive. Before understanding this, we have assumed that temperature T2 is greater than T1. We assume the temperature T2 is greater than T1 and delta H is positive. Delta H is positive. So what will happen here? So you see in the reaction above, in the above reaction, T2 is greater than T1. This implies 1 upon T2 is less than T1. 1 upon T1. This is understood to you?
Yes, sir.
This implies what? This implies 1 upon T1 minus 1 upon T2 is greater than 0, right? This is greater than 0. So you see here, if this factor is greater than 0 and this factor is already greater than 0 because delta H is positive, that means ln of K2 by K1 is also greater than 0. And if it is greater than 0, that implies K2 is greater than K1. So what do we infer? From this understanding, what do we infer? That higher is the temperature, greater will be the value of K2 or equilibrium constant. Means as if we increase the temperature, the value of K also increases. If we increase the temperature, the value of K also increases in the case of endothermic reactions. In the case of endothermic reactions. So you see, delta H is positive. That means endothermic reaction. So here increase in
Yes, sir.
temperature,
Yes.
increase in temperature increases the value of K, right?
Yes, sir.
This is understood?
Yes, sir.
Reverse case. When delta H is negative. When delta H is negative, in that case, what will happen? See, this factor is always positive. This factor is always positive because we have assumed T2 is greater than T1. Okay. So here in this equation, now this is positive and this is negative because delta H is negative. And delta H is negative means what? Exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction. So here, ln of K2 by K1 is less than 0. Ln of K2 by K1 is less than 0. When it happens, this implies K1 is less than K2, right? Sorry, this implies K2 is less than K1, right? This implies K2 is less than K1. And we know T2 is greater than T1. We know T2 is greater than T1. So what do we infer from this thing? That in the exothermic reactions, if we increase the temperature, the K equilibrium decreases. In exothermic reactions, increase in temperature decreases the K equilibrium, right?
Yes, sir.
This is also understood. So this is one of the important point with respect to the equilibrium and the temperature dependence. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Great. चलो अभी आगे देखते हैं. Next is the Lee-Chatelius principle. Next is the Lee-Chatelius principle. Now what happens here? We see. See, simple सी बात है. If any system at equilibrium is subjected to the change of concentration, pressure, or temperature, the equilibrium is shifted in such a way to nullify the effect of change. It's just a definition. Don't get confused with the definition. We'll understand how it happens.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, same thing. Just like we take this example, N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. Now I have told you, suppose this reaction is taking place at temperature T1 and that this temperature some K1 is there, right? Some K1 is there. Now suppose I increase the temperature to T2. Then what will happen? The reaction, this dynamics of this reaction will change. Initially, some equilibrium has achieved at temperature T1, some equilibrium was achieved. And at equilibrium, the concentration of N2, concentration of H2, and concentration of NH3 they became constant. But suddenly what happened, you increase the temperature to T2, you increased or decreased the temperature to T2, then what will happen? The equilibrium concentrations will get disturbed. The equilibrium concentrations, they will get disturbed, and then the process will again start and a new equilibrium is achieved. A new equilibrium is achieved at T2 where we get K2. Okay. So here what happens when you change the temperature, or when you change the equilibrium concentrations, or when you change the pressure of the equation, when you change the pressure at which this reaction is taking place, the equilibrium changes, right? The equilibrium changes. How it changes? To nullify the effect of change. इसका मतलब क्या है? सिंपल सी बात है कि अगर आपने टेम्परेचर, if you had increased the temperature of the reaction, the equilibrium will move in that direction so that the effect of increasing temperature is nullified. Okay, समझ आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
और अगर मैं ये बोलूं कि अगर मैंने कंसंट्रेशन इंक्रीज कर दी, मैंने रिएक्टेंट्स की कंसंट्रेशन मैंने इंक्रीज कर दी, तो रिएक्शन का इक्विलिब्रियम उस तरफ मूव करेगा ताकि कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ रिएक्टेंट्स डिक्रीज हो जाए। या फिर अगर मैं ये बोलूं कि मैंने प्रोडक्ट्स की कंसंट्रेशन इंक्रीज कर दी, तो रिएक्शन का डायनामिक्स उस तरफ मूव करेगा ताकि प्रोडक्ट्स की कंसंट्रेशन डिक्रीज हो जाए। ओके,
Yes.
इतना समझ आया? ग्रेट, चलो अभी आगे देखते हैं। सो कौन कौन से फैक्टर्स हैं वो देखते हैं। दिस इज द सेकंड लास्ट टॉपिक, इसके बाद अपना लास्ट टॉपिक है, वी विल बी डन विद दिस चैप्टर। So first is the effect of change in concentration, that how change in concentration affects the reaction. So see, we have this reaction A, BB, CC, DD. Okay, always we are using the same reaction, but okay, A plus BB gives CC plus DD. Now, for example, this is the table, we have to fill it. कैसे देखना है करते हैं। Now suppose क्या होगा, मैंने concentration of A और concentration of B दोनों increase कर दिए। I increase the concentration of A and B, which are the reactants. Okay, so what will happen? The reaction has to move in that direction so that the concentration of B decreases. So tell me, Sana, in which direction the concentration of AB will decrease? Reaction किस direction में जाए ताकि concentration of A and B कम हो जाए? It's okay if you give me the wrong answer. I will not judge. It's okay. Don't worry. Be free and freely tell me the answer. अगर सपोज देखो रिएक्शन में होता क्या है, किसी भी रिएक्शन में हो क्या रहा है इसमें, इनिशियली मेरे पास ए और बी बहुत ज्यादा थे, initially I had concentration of A and B in a very huge quantity. When the reaction proceeded, when the reaction took place, the A and B keeps on decreasing and C and D keeps on increasing, right? A and B keeps on decreasing and C and D keeps on increasing. ये
Yes.
कब होता है? ये तब होता है जब रिएक्शन फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन में जा रही होती है,
हाँ
है ना?
हाँ
बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में क्या होगा? बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में
भी
C और
डिक्रीज
D,
होगा
या और A और B
A और
इंक्रीज
B
होगा,
इंक्रीज होगा।
राइट? सो नाउ टेल मी, सपोज मैंने ए और बी की कंसंट्रेशन इंक्रीज कर दी, और वी कैन से मैंने एक्स्ट्रा ए और बी ऐड कर दिया, तो क्या हो गया? उसकी वजह से ए और बी बढ़ गए, ए और बी की कंसंट्रेशन इंक्रीज हो गई।
हाँ
और ली चैटलिस प्रिंसिपल क्या कहते हैं कि जब भी कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ रिएक्टेंट इंक्रीज करेगा तो रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा ताकि ये कंसंट्रेशन डिक्रीज हो जाए, है ना?
हाँ
तो वो कौन सी डायरेक्शन है जब ये कंसंट्रेशन डिक्रीज हो रहेगी?
जब कौन सा
ए एंड बी,
कंसंट्रेशन A and
कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ
B
बी, या ये कंसंट्रेशन ऑफ ए एंड बी किस डायरेक्शन में डिक्रीज होगा?
बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में।
हाउ सना? फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन होगा तो ए एंड बी कम नहीं होंगे?
अच्छा हाँ A and B ओके राइट A
ओके,
and B कम होंगे C and D ज्यादा होंगे।
या सो व्हेन आई इंक्रीज ए एंड बी, व्हेन आई इंक्रीज ए एंड बी, तो रिएक्शन विल गो इन द फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन, राइट?
हाँ
सिमिलरली व्हेन आई डिक्रीज ए एंड बी, अगर सपोज मैं ए एंड बी की कंसंट्रेशन को डिक्रीज कर दूं,
बैकवर्ड।
तो रिएक्शन का क्या होगा? रिएक्शन इस तरह से मूव करेगा ताकि ए एंड बी बने, है ना?
हाँ
वो कैसे बनेंगे? बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में, राइट?
बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में।
बी डब्ल्यू डी, ये तो हो गया रिएक्टेंट्स को लेके। अब प्रोडक्ट्स को लेके करते हैं। सपोज सी एंड डी की मैंने कंसंट्रेशन इंक्रीज कर दी, इस रिएक्शन में मैंने सी एंड डी की कंसंट्रेशन इंक्रीज कर दी, तो रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा ताकि सी एंड डी कम हो जाए, राइट? सी एंड डी कम कैसे होंगे?
बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में।
यस, सो हियर विल बी बैकवर्ड। एंड सिमिलरली अगर सपोज सी एंड डी को मैंने कंसंट्रेशन कम कर दी, तो रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगी ताकि सी एंड डी बने, राइट?
हाँ,
तो बनेंगे कैसे?
फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन में।
फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन। अंडरस्टूड?
हाँ,
क्लियर है?
हाँ सर।
ग्रेट। चलो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द इफेक्ट ऑफ चेंज इन प्रेशर। फर्स्ट पॉइंट हो गया था कि कंसंट्रेशन के चेंज होने से क्या होता है, अभी समझते हैं कि प्रेशर के चेंज होने से क्या होता है। सो इस केस में दो केसेस आएंगे, आई मीन इस केस में दो सब केसेस आए। पहला केस जब ये रिएक्शन, फर्स्ट केस व्हेन दिस इज द रिएक्शन, इन दिस केस डेल्टा एन जी इज नॉट इक्वल टू जीरो। पहली तो बात ये मान लो, हियर डेल्टा एन जी इज नॉट इक्वल टू जीरो, राइट?
Yes.
In this case delta ng is not equal to 0. One thing is clear to you now. Suppose I increase the pressure, suppose I increase the pressure of the system, I increase the pressure of the system, so or we can say reaction system। जब मैं बोलूं मतलब रिएक्शन ही होता है, ठीक है? कभी भी सिस्टम बोलूं मतलब रिएक्शन। अगर मैं प्रेशर इंक्रीज करूंगा तो अकॉर्डिंग टू द ली चैटलियर ये रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जानी चाहिए जहां पे प्रेशर कम हो जाए, है ना?
हाँ,
यहाँ पे प्रेशर कम हो जाए। और दूसरी चीज मैंने एक और बताई थी लास्ट लेक्चर में, दैट प्रेशर इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शन टू, और वी कैन से लेट्स राइट इट हियर, P इज इक्वल टू nRT by V, है ना? P इज इक्वल टू nRT by V। एंड सपोज ये रिएक्शन एक कंटेनर में हो रही है, ये रिएक्शन एक कंटेनर में हो रही है, उसकी वॉल्यूम है V, तो वॉल्यूम तो कांस्टेंट हो गई। और सपोज दिस रिएक्शन इज टेकिंग प्लेस एट पर्टिकुलर टेम्परेचर T, एक ही टेम्परेचर पे हो रहा है, तो T भी कांस्टेंट हो गया, R तो कांस्टेंट होता ही है। So this pressure is directly proportional to number of moles, right? This pressure is directly proportional to number of moles. So मतलब मैं अगर number of moles बढ़ाऊंगा प्रेशर बढ़ेगा, number of moles कम करूंगा तो प्रेशर कम होगा, right?
हाँ,
So here, if I increase the pressure, if I increase the pressure, so reaction will go in that direction where pressure reduces. If pressure is increased, reaction goes in that direction. Reaction goes in that direction where pressure reduces, right? Sure?
yes sir.
अब देखो इसमें मैं कह रहा हूँ कि रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगी जहाँ प्रेशर कम होगा। अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस इक्वेशन P डायरेक्ट प्रोपोर्शन टू N, प्रेशर कम कब होगा? जिस डायरेक्शन में नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कम होंगे, राइट?
Yes sir.
प्रेशर उस डायरेक्शन में कम होगा जहाँ पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कम होंगे। अब इस इक्वेशन में बताओ, इस इक्वेशन को देखो और बताओ कि नंबर ऑफ मोल्स किस डायरेक्शन में कम है। टोटल नंबर ऑफ मोल्स किस डायरेक्शन में कम है?
1 mole.
Here it is 4.
4. There it's 2.
So किस डायरेक्शन में जाके नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कम होते हैं?
Forward में.
Right. So it means जब भी प्रेशर बढ़ाओगे, whenever you increase the pressure, the reaction goes in that direction where the pressure reduces. So here the reaction goes in forward direction. Okay?
Yes sir.
ये हो गया। तो रिवर्स में क्या होगा? अगर मैं प्रेशर रिड्यूस करूंगा, then reaction moves in that direction where the pressure increases, right? Reaction moves in that direction where the pressure increases. And according to P directly proportional to N equation, प्रेशर तब इंक्रीज होगा जब नंबर ऑफ मोल्स इंक्रीज होंगे। तो नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कहाँ इंक्रीज हो रहे हैं? बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में, राइट? नंबर ऑफ मोल्स बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन इंक्रीज हो रहे हैं, राइट?
हाँ सर।
सो व्हेन वी डिक्रीज द प्रेशर, द रिएक्शन मूव्स इन बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन। अंडरस्टूड दिस थिंग?
यस सर।
क्लियरली?
यस सर।
ग्रेट। चलो नेक्स्ट, ये सब छोड़ो, अब इसमें देखो, वो तो हो गया फर्स्ट केस। इस केस में क्या है कि डेल्टा एन जी जीरो, इस केस में डेल्टा एन जी इज इक्वल टू जीरो, राइट?
यस सर।
डेल्टा एन जी इज इक्वल टू जीरो। सो हियर यहाँ पे क्या होगा? हियर सेम थिंग, सेम थिंग। इफ आई इंक्रीज द प्रेशर, द रिएक्शन नीड्स टू गो इन दैट डायरेक्शन वेयर द प्रेशर डिक्रीजेस, एंड वी नो प्रेशर इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू नंबर ऑफ मोल्स। बट हियर यहाँ पे भी नंबर ऑफ मोल्स टू है, यहाँ पे भी नंबर ऑफ मोल्स टू है, राइट?
यस सर।
सिस्टम को समझ ही नहीं आएगा कि किस डायरेक्शन में जाऊं, सिस्टम को समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है कि किस डायरेक्शन में जाऊं जहां पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कम हो जाए, राइट?
Yes, sir.
इस केस में क्या होगा, इस केस में क्या होगा कि इवन इफ यू इंक्रीज द प्रेशर और इवन इफ यू डिक्रीज द प्रेशर, बोथ हैज नो इफेक्ट ऑन के इक्विलिब्रियम और इक्विलिब्रियम. ओके,
Pressures increase.
if you increase the pressure or if you decrease the pressure, they will
Okay.
have no effect on the equilibrium.
Okay, okay.
They will have no effect on the equilibrium. रीजन समझ आ गया?
Yes, sir.
क्योंकि चेंज इन नंबर ऑफ मोल्स जीरो है, तो वी कांट डिसाइड वेदर टू गो फॉरवर्ड और बैकवर्ड, बिकॉज प्रेशर इंक्रीज करने पे प्रेशर इंक्रीज करने पे रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जानी चाहिए जहां पे प्रेशर कम हो.
हाँ.
प्रेशर कम हो मतलब नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कम हो, बट नंबर ऑफ मोल्स तो बराबर है दोनों तरफ.
हाँ.
So that means according to this equation, we say it has no effect on the equilibrium. Understood this thing?
मतलब वो हमेशा हायर टू लोअर जाएगा,
No,
मतलब
No.
मोर मोल से.
no, no. Higher to lower हमेशा नहीं जाएगा. इस केस में क्या है कि डेल्टा एन जी इज इक्वल टू जीरो, राइट?
हाँ.
इस केस में, और इस केस में क्या था डेल्टा एन जी, इस केस में डेल्टा एन जी इज एक्चुअली लेस देन जीरो, राइट?
हाँ.
इस केस में डेल्टा एन जी इज लेस देन जीरो. एक और केस बनेगा जब डेल्टा एन जी विल बी ग्रेटर देन जीरो. ओके,
Greater than zero. हाँ.
सो किस तरह से एनालाइज करना है उस तरह से करो जैसे मैं बता रहा हूँ. अगर आप ऐसे करोगे कि डेल्टा एन जी लेस देन जीरो के केस में क्या होगा, प्रेशर इंक्रीज होगा, रिएक्शन फॉरवर्ड जाएगा बैकवर्ड जाएगा, या डेल्टा एन जी लेस देन जीरो होगा तो रिएक्शन प्रेशर इंक्रीज करने पे रिएक्शन फॉरवर्ड जाएगा बैकवर्ड जाएगा, तो
It depends on the moles.
वो कंफ्यूज कर देगा आपको. इस
हाँ,
तरीके से
हाँ.
जाओ जिस तरह से मैंने बताया है. तो इसमें आपको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी कि
हाँ.
एन जी लेस देन जीरो के केस में क्या केस था, डेल्टा एन जी ग्रेटर देन जीरो के केस में क्या केस था, या डेल्टा एन जी ग्रेट इक्वल टू जीरो के केस में क्या केस था. ओके,
हाँ.
तीनों चीजों को रट्टा लगाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. इस तरह से देखोगे कंसेप्ट के हिसाब से तो फटाफट हो जाएगा, है ना?
हाँ. Yes.
सिंपल सी बात है, प्रेशर इंक्रीज किया, रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा जहां प्रेशर डिक्रीज हो, मतलब
Decrease.
जहां पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स डिक्रीज हो.
Decrease.
ठीक है, अब देख लो नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कहाँ हो रहे हैं, फॉरवर्ड में कम हो रहे हैं या बैकवर्ड में कम हो रहे हैं. ठीक है,
Forward. इसमें forward में कम हो रहा है.
हाँ, एक रिएक्शन होगी जिसमें बैकवर्ड में कम हो रहे होंगे, तो वहां पे क्या होगा, बैकवर्ड रिएक्शन हो रही होगी, है ना? राइट?
हाँ sir.
अंडरस्टूड दिस थिंग?
Yes, I understand.
ग्रेट. चलो, ये भी हो गया, ये भी हो गया, और इस पे आते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज द एडिशन ऑफ इनर्ट गैस एट कांस्टेंट वॉल्यूम. एडिशन ऑफ inert gas at constant volume. Now we'll see how it happens. When I said constant volume, for example, we have this container. कहाँ गया मेरा कंटेनर? यहाँ पे है मेरा कंटेनर. चलो एग्जांपल ले लो रिएक्शन की. हम हमेशा एक ही एग्जांपल ले रहे हैं पिछले 2 घंटे से या फिर कल के लेक्चर से लेके अभी तक हम सिर्फ इसी एग्जांपल पे चिपके हुए हैं क्योंकि ये बहुत ही कंफर्टेबल इक्वेशन है. चलो देखते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेरे पास ये कंटेनर है जिसमें मैंने, अरे ये क्या हो गया, ओके, सपोज मेरे पास ये कंटेनर है जिसमें मैंने N2 लिया, H2 लिया और अमोनिया लिया, है ना? इसमें रिएक्शन हो रही थी इस कंटेनर में जिसकी वॉल्यूम है V, और इसमें क्या क्या है, हमारे पास N2 है, H2 है एंड अमोनिया है. फिर मैंने क्या किया, मैंने इसी कंटेनर में एक इनर्ट गैस इंजेक्ट कर दी. इसी कंटेनर में मैंने एक इनर्ट गैस इंजेक्ट कर दी. सपोज मेरे पास ये तीनों तो थे ही, साथ में मैंने हीलियम को डाल दिया, साथ में मैंने हीलियम को डाल दिया. ओके, बट एंश्योर कि कंटेनर इज ए रिजिड कंटेनर. ensure that container, और we can say जिसमें रिएक्शन हो रही है that is a rigid space. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बैलून ले लो और उसमें पहले रिएक्शन करवा दो और फिर हीलियम डाल दो. तो बैलून का क्या होता है कि इट्स बाउंड्री इज नॉट रिजिड, बैलून फूल जाएगा, है ना? वॉल्यूम चेंज हो जाएगी. तो ऐसा नहीं करना है. ओके, ऐसा नहीं करना है इस केस में. इस केस में कंटेनर शुड बी रिजिड, इट्स वॉल्यूम शुड बी रिजिड, तभी तो कांस्टेंट वॉल्यूम आएगी, है ना? So now what
Yes.
happens here? Addition of inert is taking place. Addition of inert is taking place. So when inert is added, this is how it happens. This is how it looks like. One thing you need to understand here is that partial pressure of gas is equal to number of moles of gas into R into T divided by volume of container. ये equation होती है हमारे पास, है ना? Where P is
Yes.
what? P is the partial pressure of the gas. So if the
Yes.
container volume is same, if the container volume is same even after addition of inert gas, and we know temperature is constant for a reaction, that means partial pressure is directly proportional to number of moles.
Yes, sir.
Partial pressure is directly proportional to number of moles. अब ये देखो, यहाँ पे सपोज मेरे पास नंबर ऑफ मोल्स नाइट्रोजन के थे सपोज 1, हाइड्रोजन का था 2 और अमोनिया का था 3। मैंने इनर्ट ऐड कर दिया, बट इनर्ट ऐड करने पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स ऑफ N2 and H2 and NH3 didn't change, right? They will again remain same. They will remain same. So if number of moles remain same, that means partial pressure of the gases remain same.
Yes, sir.
Partial pressure of gases remain same. So if the partial pressure of the gases remains same, then Kp value remains same, right?
Yes, sir.
If the Kp value remains same, that means what? That means inert को add किया, but equilibrium change नहीं हुआ, right? That means मैंने inert को add कर दिया, फिर भी equilibrium change नहीं हुआ. That means addition of inert gas at constant volume, addition of inert gas at constant volume,
Yes, sir.
it has no effect on equilibrium, right?
Yes, sir.
No effect on equilibrium. चलो ये तो समझ आता है. Second case. Second case, addition of inert gas at constant pressure. पहला केस था कांस्टेंट वॉल्यूम, सेकंड केस इज कांस्टेंट प्रेशर. सो इस केस में क्या होगा देखते हैं. इक्वेशन हम सेम यूज करेंगे क्योंकि हमें इस इक्वेशन से बहुत लगाव है. सो सेम इक्वेशन, सेम केपी. बट इस केस में क्या होगा, सपोज दिस इज द कंटेनर जिसमें हमने क्या किया, हमारे पास N2 भी है, H2 भी है और अमोनिया भी है. मैंने क्या किया, इसमें क्या करें, हीलियम डाल देते हैं, कोई इनर्ट गैस डाल देते हैं. ओके, इसमें मैंने क्या किया, कोई इनर्ट गैस डाल दी. बट इस केस में क्या है कि प्रेशर कांस्टेंट है. प्रेशर कांस्टेंट कैसे होगा, जब कंटेनर की वॉल्यूम बढ़ा देंगे, राइट? तो मैंने क्या किया, इनिशियली मेरे पास अमोनिया, हाइड्रोजन एंड नाइट्रोजन थे इस कंटेनर में. जैसे इसमें जैसे मैंने इनर्ट गैस ऐड की, तो क्या होगा, कुछ प्रेशर इंक्रीज होगा. उस प्रेशर को कम करने के लिए मैंने क्या किया, वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दिया. मैंने वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दिया. कितना वॉल्यूम बढ़ाया, डीवी, है ना? यही होता है. पीवी इक्वल टू एनआरटी में क्या होता है, प्रेशर इंक्रीज करोगे वॉल्यूम कम हो जाएगा, वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज करोगे प्रेशर कम हो जाएगा. तो इस केस में इनर्ट को ऐड करने पे प्रेशर इंक्रीज हुआ, मैंने वॉल्यूम बढ़ाई ताकि प्रेशर सेम हो जाए. तो मतलब यहाँ पे भी प्रेशर पी हो गया, यहाँ पे भी प्रेशर पी हो गया, राइट? अंडरस्टूड दिस थिंग?
Yes, sir.
ओके. सो द नाउ न्यू वॉल्यूम, इस कंटेनर में न्यू वॉल्यूम इज व्हाट, V प्लस dV, which is V2. This is V1, this is V2, and we know V2 is greater than V1, right?
Yes, sir.
Now here what is happening, we know pressure of gas, partial pressure of gas is equal to nRT by V, where number of moles are constant, temperature is constant, R तो हमेशा constant ही रहता है. तो pressure of gas is inversely proportional to V, right? This is the partial pressure of gas. Partial pressure of gas is inversely proportional to V. So now when we increase the volume of container, when we increase the volume of container, partial pressure of gas will reduce.
Yes, sir.
मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, कंटेनर का ओवरऑल प्रेशर सेम है. अभी कंटेनर का ओवरऑल प्रेशर सेम था, बट क्या हुआ, इंडिविजुअल गैसेस का प्रेशर कम हो गया, है ना, क्योंकि वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दी. अगर ऐसा होगा तो केपी की वैल्यू चेंज होगी. अगर
Yes,
ऐसा होगा तो केपी की वैल्यू चेंज होगी, राइट?
yes, sir.
ऐसा होगा तो केपी की वैल्यू चेंज होगी. सो सिंपल सी बात है, सिंपल सी बात है. हियर व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, this total P, this P is equal to what? This P is equal to partial pressure of N2 plus partial pressure of H2 plus partial pressure of ammonia, right? Plus
Yes.
plus partial pressure of Ig. So इस केस में देखो क्या हो रहा है कि जैसे ही मैंने वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दी, सबका पार्शियल प्रेशर कम हो गया, राइट?
Yes, sir.
सो अगर सबका पार्शियल प्रेशर कम हो जाएगा तो देयर इज अ ओवरऑल प्रेशर ड्रॉप,
Ye-
राइट?
Yes, sir.
So if there is an overall pressure drop in the system, means pressure drop हो गया. So reaction will move in that direction, which will increase the pressure. Yes or no?
Yes,
Reaction
sir.
will move in that direction, which will increase the pressure. So किस direction में जाएगा? Tell me. Reaction किस direction में जाएगा? इस equation के according. अभी तो बताया था तुमने.
Forward.
Why sana forward? रिएक्शन बैकवर्ड में जाएगा ना, क्योंकि प्रेशर डिक्रीज कर रहा है, तो प्रेशर को इंक्रीज करना है। टू मेंटेन इट प्रेशर को इंक्रीज करना है, इंक्रीज किस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा? बैकवर्ड, राइट?
Pressure increase.
सी, ओवरऑल प्रेशर डिक्रीज हो गया है ना, ओवरऑल
हाँ
सिस्टम का प्रेशर डिक्रीज हो गया, और हमें क्या चाहिए? अकॉर्डिंग टू ली चैटलियर, रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा ताकि प्रेशर इंक्रीज हो, है ना?
हाँ
तो किस डायरेक्शन में प्रेशर इंक्रीज होगा?
किस so I didn't get it.
देखो, सिंपल सी बात है, स्टार्टिंग से चलते हैं।
हाँ
ये समझ आ गया कि पार्शियल प्रेशर डिक्रीज हुआ है हर गैस का।
हाँ वो आ गया।
तो टोटल प्रेशर क्या होगा? टोटल प्रेशर, किसी कंटेनर का टोटल प्रेशर क्या होता है? उसमें जो सारी गैसेस है उनका प्रेशर होगा, है ना, उनका सम।
हाँ
So P is equal to partial pressure of N2, partial pressure of H2, partial pressure of NH3, partial pressure of IG, right?
हाँ
And we know कि वॉल्यूम बढ़ाने पे सबका पार्शियल प्रेशर कम हो गया, है ना?
हम्म
तो ये जो वैल्यू है ये भी कम हो जाएगी,
हाँ
है ना? अगर ये वैल्यू कम हो गई है तो मतलब मेरे पास जो P है वो कम हो गया है। This P has reduced, right?
हाँ
If this P has reduced, तो रिएक्शन उस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा जहां P की वैल्यू बढ़े, राइट?
हाँ
तो कौन सी डायरेक्शन में P बढ़ेगा बताओ? जहां पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स बढ़े।
बैकवर्ड, हाँ बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन
तो
में,
किस डायरेक्शन में नंबर ऑफ मोल्स बढ़ रहे हैं? बैकवर्ड में।
बैकवर्ड डायरेक्शन में।
अंडरस्टूड दिस थिंग?
हाँ यस
पक्का?
पक्का अंडरस्टैंड।
ओके, सो देख लो क्या लिखा है मैंने। एडिशन ऑफ इनर्ट गैस एट कांस्टेंट प्रेशर रिजल्ट्स इन ओवरऑल प्रेशर ड्रॉप, राइट?
हाँ
ये हुआ ना ओवरऑल प्रेशर ड्रॉप,
हाँ हाँ
एंड द रिएक्शन मूव्स इन दैट डायरेक्शन वेयर द नंबर ऑफ मोल्स आर मोर, राइट?
हाँ यस
ये भी समझ आ गया है ना?
हाँ सर।
सो दिस इज हाउ द ली चैटली प्रिंसिपल इज कंक्लूडेड। इस तरह से हम ली चैटली प्रिंसिपल को समाप्त करते हैं अपने तरीके से। ओके, समझ आ गया पूरा?
हाँ सर।
ओके, तो इस क्वेश्चन को करो। आई वांट ए राइट आंसर फ्रॉम यू। आई नो यू कैन डू इट, ज़्यादा टफ
Yes.
नहीं है, 2019 में पूछा गया है।
Just incorrect. Okay.
देखो हो क्या रहा है इस रिएक्शन में, सिंपल है। डेल्टा एच नेगेटिव है मतलब एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन है। डेल्टा एच इज नेगेटिव मींस एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन, वन थिंग। सेकंड थिंग, केसी की वैल्यू बहुत ज्यादा है ना?
हाँ
केसी इज वेरी लार्ज वैल्यू, ये भी चीज है। नाउ क्वेश्चन सेज, ऑप्शंस देखते हैं। सेकंड ऑप्शन देखते हैं कि इन एडिशन ऑफ इनर्ट गैस एट कांस्टेंट वॉल्यूम विल नॉट अफेक्ट द इक्विलिब्रियम। एडिशन ऑफ इनर्ट गैस एट द कांस्टेंट वॉल्यूम विल नॉट अफेक्ट द इक्विलिब्रियम कांस्टेंट। ये तो सही है ना?
हाँ हाँ हाँ
ये तो सही है, हमने अभी पढ़ा।
हाँ increase in pressure will bring,
या इट विल चेंज, इट विल
हाँ
चेंज।
it will change।
किस डायरेक्शन में होगा वो हमें देखना पड़ेगा, है ना?
हाँ
थर्ड पॉइंट कहता है कि इक्विलिब्रियम विल शिफ्ट इन द फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन एज द प्रेशर इंक्रीजेस। इक्विलिब्रियम विल शिफ्ट इन द फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन एज द प्रेशर इंक्रीजेस। इज इट सो? Is it so? Let's see. Delta ng is what? Delta ng is -1, means delta ng is less than 0. Or if the pressure increases, reaction will move in that direction where pressure decreases. तो प्रेशर डिक्रीज कहाँ होगा? जहाँ पे नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कम होंगे। नंबर ऑफ मोल्स कहाँ पे कम है? यहाँ पे 2 है, यहाँ पे 3 है, मतलब फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन में। सो रिएक्शन विल मूव इन फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन टू डिक्रीज द प्रेशर, राइट?
yes
So the equilibrium will shift in forward direction as the pressure increases. This is also right. The equilibrium
हाँ
constant decreases as the temperature increases. ये भी सही है। क्योंकि
Yes.
एक्सोथर्मिक है, एक्सोथर्मिक में मैंने बताया था इंक्रीजिंग टेम्परेचर रिड्यूसेस द वैल्यू ऑफ के, है ना।
हाँ
सो दैट मीन्स अगर तीनों स्टेटमेंट सही हैं तो बचा क्या, चौथा स्टेटमेंट, इसको बोल दो गलत है, क्योंकि कुछ किसी को तो बोलना है गलत है, राइट। किसी स्टेटमेंट को तो बोलना है कि दैट स्टेटमेंट इज इनकरेक्ट, तो क्यों बोलना है वे भी देख लेते हैं। सी क्वेश्चन पॉइंट सेज द इक्विलिब्रियम कांस्टेंट इज लार्जली, द इक्विलिब्रियम कांस्टेंट इज लार्ज सजेस्टिव ऑफ रिएक्शन गोइंग टू कंप्लीशन एंड सो नो कैटालिसिस रिक्वायर्ड। ऐसा जरूरी है क्या, कहीं पे लिखा है क्या इसको इक्वेशन में कि कैटलिस्ट रिक्वायर है कि नहीं है।
नहीं
देयर इज अ चांस कि रिक्वायर हो, देयर इज अ
नहीं
चांस कि नहीं रिक्वायर हो। सो
हाँ
ये स्टेटमेंट इतनी कंक्रीट नहीं है, कंक्रीट और ठोस स्टेटमेंट नहीं है कि इसको हम सही कर पाए। सो इसको बोल दो गलत, ठीक है। चलो ये समझ आ गया।
हाँ सर
नेक्स्ट लास्ट टॉपिक, द थर्मोडायनेमिक्स ऑफ केमिकल इक्विलिब्रियम। द थर्मोडायनेमिक्स ऑफ केमिकल इक्विलिब्रियम, ये समझते हैं कि होता क्या है। देखो ये रिएक्शन है ए बी बी सी सी डी डी, हमेशा यही रहते हैं अपन जनरल इक्वेशन। इसका क्यूसी भी लिख दो ऐसे, क्यूसी इज इक्वल टू सी सी डी डी ए बी बी। नो दिस इक्वेशन, ये इक्वेशन पढ़ी होगी थर्मोडायनेमिक्स में, पढ़ी है क्या, यू रिमेंबर।
हाँ सर आई रिमेम्बर
या डेल्टा जी इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा जी नॉट प्लस 2.303 आर टी एल एन क्यू, आर टी log क्यू। यहाँ पे क्या है, दिस डेल्टा जी, दिस इज व्हाट, दिस इज स्टैंडर्ड डेल्टा जी। स्टैंडर्ड डेल्टा जी मीन्स स्टैंडर्ड गिव्स फ्री एनर्जी, यही होता है ना, इसको ये कहते हैं गिव्स फ्री एनर्जी, मैं भूल गया था। सो डेल्टा जी इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा जी नॉट प्लस 2.303 आर टी एल एन क्यू। ये डेल्टा जी क्या है, दिस इज द डेल्टा जी एट एनी पॉइंट,
हाँ
एट एनी पॉइंट। सपोज मेरे पास इक्विलिब्रियम अचीव होता है, सपोज मेरे पास इक्विलिब्रियम अचीव होता है, उस केस में क्या होता है, एट इक्विलिब्रियम डेल्टा जी बिकम्स जीरो,
ओके
at equilibrium this delta g becomes zero, okay। so क्या होगा, ये जो इक्वेशन है ये कुछ ऐसी हो रहेगी, थोड़ा जल्दी आगे बताओ, ये कुछ इक्वेशन ऐसी हो जाएगी दैट डेल्टा जी नॉट इज इक्वल टू माइनस 2.303 आर टी log के इक्विलिब्रियम। क्यों के इक्विलिब्रियम, क्योंकि इक्विलिब्रियम आ गया ना, इक्विलिब्रियम पे q इज इक्वल टू के, राइट।
हाँ
सो यहाँ पे ये इक्वेशन आती है मेरे पास। फिर मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं इसको ऐसे लिखूंगा, मुझे ये भी पता है कि डेल्टा जी नॉट इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा एच नॉट माइनस टी डेल्टा एस नॉट, this is also there, right,
सर
this is also there, great। now if delta g naught is equal to delta h naught minus t delta s, तो मैं इसको इक्वेट कर सकता हूँ, I can equate the equation like this, I can equate the equation like this। इसको थोड़ा आगे पीछे लेके जाओ, इस फैक्टर को ऊपर नीचे लेके जाओ, तो हमें फाइनली ये इक्वेशन मिलती है, we get the final equation like this, right। now you are a math student, you know what is it, y is equal to mx plus c,
यस सर
y is equal to mx plus c,
हाँ
where slope is what, slope is minus delta notch, notch क्या होता है, delta h है slope is minus delta h upon 2.303 r, this is the slope, this is the slope। x क्या है इसमें, x is 1 by t and c constant, constant है ये वाला, है ना। इसको क्या करो, प्लॉट करो, इसको मैंने प्लॉट किया y is equal to x में, this is y, this is x, x is 1 by t, y is log k। सो सपोज प्लॉट मेरा इस तरफ से आता है, मुझे पता है कि स्ट्रेट लाइन आएगी, ये मुझे पता है कि स्ट्रेट लाइन ही आएगी, और मुझे ये भी पता है कि ये जो सी है, सी को अपन क्या कहते हैं, इंटरसेप्ट, राइट, थोड़ा मैथ मेरा वीक है, सी को इंटरसेप्ट कहते हैं, तो इंटरसेप्ट हमेशा पॉजिटिव आएगा यहाँ पे, क्योंकि पॉजिटिव है, तो इसलिए यहाँ पे इंटरसेप्ट इज पॉजिटिव। स्लोप मेरी नेगेटिव है, अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस लाइन मेरी स्लोप नेगेटिव है ना, एंड स्लोप इज व्हाट, स्लोप इज इक्वल टू माइनस डेल्टा एच अपॉन 2.303 आर। सो मुझे सना ये बताओ कि ये स्लोप नेगेटिव क्यों है, अगर ये स्लोप नेगेटिव है तो दैट मीन्स व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ डेल्टा एच, डेल्टा एच कैसा है इसमें अगर स्लोप नेगेटिव है, this delta h, how the delta h is if the slope is negative, is it positive or is it negative,
नेगेटिव
delta h, is it positive or negative if my slope is negative, first think and then answer, थोड़ा सोचो।
Then slope is negative.
Just think a bit. सिंपल सी बात है सना. सी स्लोप इज नेगेटिव मींस ये वैल्यू नेगेटिव है. अगर यहाँ पे डेल्टा एच पॉजिटिव है तभी तो ये नेगेटिव हो पाएगा. अगर डेल्टा एच नेगेटिव होगा तो ये पूरी वैल्यू पॉजिटिव नहीं हो जाएगी.
हाँ
अगर ये डेल्टा एच नेगेटिव हो गया तो ये एम की वैल्यू पॉजिटिव नहीं हो जाएगी.
हाँ
हो जाएगी ना.
हाँ
बट यहाँ पे क्या एम की वैल्यू नेगेटिव है क्योंकि
नहीं।
स्लोप नेगेटिव है. सो इसका मतलब डेल्टा एच इज पॉजिटिव, राइट.
पॉजिटिव हाँ
डेल्टा एच इज
Okay.
पॉजिटिव. सो अगर डेल्टा एच पॉजिटिव है मतलब ये जो स्लोप है, ये जो कर्व है, इट इज फॉर द एंडोडर्मिक रिएक्शंस.
हाँ
दिस कर्व इज फॉर द एंडोडर्मिक रिएक्शंस, राइट. ये समझ आता है.
यस सर.
ग्रेट. और अगर मेरे पास ये स्लोप है, अगर मेरे पास ये स्लोप है, इस केस में क्या है, स्लोप इज पॉजिटिव.
स्लोप पॉजिटिव है.
क्यों? क्योंकि डेल्टा एच नेगेटिव है.
डेल्टा एच नेगेटिव.
और अगर डेल्टा एच नेगेटिव है मींस इट्स अ एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन, राइट. इट्स एन एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन.
हाँ
सो स्टोरी काफी क्लियर हो गई है अपन को अभी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दिस इक्वेशन, राइट.
यस सर.
That whenever the delta H is positive, whenever the delta H is positive, the slope will be, the slope in this curve, the slope in this curve will be like this.
हाँ
Whenever delta H is positive, sorry, whenever the delta H is negative, the slope in the curve will be like this. Okay. Understood this concept
यस सर.
perfectly?
यस सर.
Great. So let's move ahead and do some questions. Suppose I have this question. I have this question. What I will do is that we will solve some questions. I will give you the homework for some questions. You will have to solve these questions. In the next lecture, we will discuss it. In my coming session, whatever topic I teach, in the 15 minutes of the topic, first 15 minutes, I will solve the questions which I will be giving homework in this session. Okay.
Okay sir.
I will tell you how to do the first question. You do it and discuss in the coming session. The question says the standard Gibbs energy for the reaction is given. The standard Gibbs energy for the reaction is given, right? This is given here. So here, delta G is equal to 2494.2 joule. This is given to us. Question says at a given time, the composition of the reaction mixture is this one. At a given time, the composition of reaction mixture is this one. So that means 2A gives B plus C. Understand this thing, that this concentration is not the equilibrium concentration. It is the concentration at a particular given time. कोई random given time पे concentration दे दी है. So we can calculate the QC, right?
Yes sir.
We can calculate the QC from here. One thing is clear. And from this delta G value, from this delta G naught is equal to minus 2.303 RT ln Q, sorry, K equilibrium. You can get the K equilibrium. Sure?
Yes sir.
You can get the K equilibrium from here. Now simple सी बात है. If QC less than K equilibrium, reaction goes forward. If QC is greater than K equilibrium, reaction goes backward. And if both are equal, then it is equilibrium. है ना?
हाँ.
समझ आ गया?
Yes sir.
Good. Take the screenshot and we go to the next question. Okay?
हाँ sir.
ठीक है? Great. चलो इस इक्वेशन में देखो. In this reaction for the equilibrium, the value of delta G is what? The value of delta G is what? So इसमें होता क्या है? In this equation, see, this single arrow is actually double arrow. ये थोड़ा printing error है, okay? Typo error है. So here 2HO is in equilibrium gives H3O plus OH minus. For this reaction, K is actually equal to 10 to the power 14. Okay. For this reaction, I haven't given K is equal to 10 to the power 14. Okay. Sorry, minus 14. Understood?
Yes sir.
In this reaction, K is 10 to the power minus 14. So directly apply the formula. Delta G naught is equal to what? Minus 2.303 RT log of 10 to the power minus 14. Delta G हमें find करना है. It is equal to minus 2.303 into R is what? R is 8.314 into temperature is 298 into minus 14, right?
Yes sir.
Sure? Okay, this thing will come, this will come, इसको divide by 1000 कर दो, make it divide by 1000 and you will get the answer in kilojoules per mole. Okay,
Okay.
you will get the answer in kilojoules per mole. Answer is, I will tell you the answer. Answer actually is 380. Why the answer is positive? Simple. यहाँ पे भी minus sign है और यहाँ पे भी minus sign है, दोनों plus sign है.
Positive.
Okay, so that's why answer is positive. So it will be third answer. Solve करना, you will get the answer. Okay,
Okay.
great. Chalo, next question. The question says which of the following lines correctly show the temperature dependence of equilibrium constant for the exothermic reaction? Now you should be able to tell me very quickly. This is the graph between ln k versus 1 by t. And the question is asking exothermic reactions के लिए कौन सी lines हैं? So be quick and can tell me. Exothermic reaction के लिए कौन सी lines हैं? A, B, C, D. Which one is it? अभी किया था अपन ने.
हाँ. A.
Okay, A is there and
A or B.
A and B, right? The option is first. Okay. Be confident. Whenever you answer ना, be confident. गलत होगा चलेगा. तो जा तो ना रहा है अपना, है ना?
Okay.
Right. Be confident. Next. Next question says the incorrect match. Tell me the incorrect match. Delta G और K के बीच में. So delta G is equal to what? Is equal to RT ln K,
हाँ.
right? Minus RT ln K या फिर minus 2.303 RT log of K, right?
हाँ.
This is delta G naught. Now go through the options. First option, delta G is equal to 0 when K is equal to 1, which is obvious. Log of 1 is equal to 0. So this is equal to 0, right? So first option is right. Go through the second option. It says delta G is less than 0 when K is less than 0. It is false. If K is less than 0, the log of K will be negative.
Negative, yes.
Negative, negative, positive. So delta G should be greater than 0. This is also. So this is false, right? This is false, right?
हाँ.
Question क्या पूछ रहा है? Question पूछा है incorrect match क्या है?
Correct match. So second option.
Okay. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Great. Next question. This is also the same question. Here the question says, okay. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So this question is the same one. In this question also, what do you need to do? Temperature is given. Temperature is given and K is given. Okay. So we can find the delta H by using the Van 't Hoff equation.
Yes, sir.
ln of K2 by K1 is equal to delta H upon R 1 upon T1 minus 1 upon T2. So we can find the delta H easily, right? So if you get the delta H, one thing is clear to us. Then you can find the delta G at T1.
Yes, sir.
How to get the delta G at T1? Delta G at T1 is equal to minus 2.303 into R into T1 into log of K equilibrium 1, right? And delta G2 is equal to minus 2.303 into R into T2 into log of K equilibrium 2, right? Right, Sana?
Yes, sir.
So simply use the equations and simply solve the questions, okay?
Okay.
So I think we have solved all the questions here except two. First question and the last question. Solve these questions and here we totally complete the chapter of chemical equilibrium, okay?
Yes.
You understand everything?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Was it good to you?
Yes, sir, it was.
Great.
Yes.
Because in our next session, we will be discussing about ionic equilibrium chapter and there also we'll do the concepts and the questions. We will proceed in the same way, okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, great. So for the next session, stay tuned and I will send you the link, okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Sona, for this session.